Alright, now we have the ability to actually submit this form that we created, but now I want to make what's called a request, and what this is going to do is it's going to validate our form for us. So let's go back to our terminal, and what I want to do is I want to say PHP artisan make request, and I'm going to call it a blog request. And this is a fairly simple class, so let's go back to it. Right here it generated it for us, blog request, and it extends the request class, and we have a public function authorize and public function rules. So very simple, just two methods. And this one just returns true or false. And what this means is the user authorized to submit this form? And it should be true, or else the form would be useless because the user would not be able to create a blog. So let's set that to true, and then inside of our rules what we want to do is we want to pass it an array with all of the fields in our form, such as title, and we're going to make that required. Alright, and we also have a body, and we're going to make that required as well. Some of the other things that can be added, and you can do this with a pipe like so. You can say min 6, for instance, and that says that you need a minimum of 6 characters, or you can have email, and that says it must be of a type email. There's a whole bunch of things that you can use to have as your rule set, but we have a very basic form, and it's just going to have a title and a body, and both of these are going to be required. So let's save that, and what we need to do now is go back to our blogs controller, and inside a store, if you remember, at first it came with request, such as this, request with the variable of request. Well, I don't need that. What I want is the blog request, alright? And this isn't going to work like this. We need to actually import it up here. So I'm going to go down here and say use app HTTP request blog request. Alright, save that. And we don't need to actually write any logic down here because this is all done behind the scenes. This is going to make sure that the title and the body have been included when we submit the form. So let's go back here, and we have an input equals request all, which we want. But now we want to persist this to the database. So what we want to do is we want to say blog create, and we want to pass it this input variable. And it's okay to mass assign this with input because in our blog model we set this in our fillable array title and body. So these are mass assignable fields. So we can go back here, but now after this blog has been created, what we want to do is we want to redirect the user back to all of the blogs. So let's return redirect, and we want to send them to blogs. Alright? Cool, so this should work. So once that is filled out, it's going to make sure that the request passed. It's going to save all of the submitted inputs into this input variable, and it's going to pass it into this blog, which will create a new entry in the blog database. And after that has been completed, we're going to redirect to the blogs to display all the blogs that are in the database at this time. But once we do that, we're going to get them in ascending order. We want to get them in descending order. So up here where we say blogs equals blog all, let's change this to latest, and we're going to say get. So this pretty much means we want to get the latest, which means that the last thing that was added will be on the top of the list. Alright, so pretty much saying order by in descending order in the background. So let's save all that and go back to Google Chrome, and let's go to blog/create. Alright, and we are going to refresh just to be safe, and let's say test, and let's say this is another test, add the blog, and we got it right here. These are all the last things that I've added. We have quite a bit of gibberish crap up here, so I'm going to get rid of this in the next video so it's a little bit cleaner. But what happens if we don't pass the validation in the blog request? Well, nothing's going to happen. So let's write something in here. Let's just put some gibberish and nothing here, and nothing happens. So we need to display the errors, and I have a really cool snippet that I'll make available to you guys. So let's go back to Sublime Text and go to our view, and inside of this column medium 6, I want to display it here because I don't want it to be too long. Let's paste it in. Let's format this a little bit. Alright, so what this is going to do is it's going to say if there are any errors, we're going to make an unordered list with the class of alert and alert danger, which will make this red, and it's going to say for each of the errors, we're going to display them as a list item. So let's save that, and we're going to go back to Google Chrome, and let's refresh real quick, and I'm just going to give it another title, and I'm going to add this. Well, the body field is required, so cool, it's displaying the error for me. Well, let's go and write some crap in the body and try to add that, and the title field is required. Well, let's just say blog attempt, and we're going to give it that blog body, and it has successfully been added. Cool, so we made a blog request, which validates our inputs. For the next video, I'm going to actually get rid of a bunch of these in the database because this looks really crappy. We're going to start making some actual blogs, but now we actually have the ability to make a form and validate it to the specifications that we want.